Hello everyone, welcome to InPsyt. This is your psychology hub. In this video, we'll be looking into developmental stages, which is a topic in the third chapter of NCERT in new syllabus of class 11th, which is human development. Okay, so let's talk about development. It is the lifelong journey that we are all on. Whether you're a baby drooling on toys or an adult stressing over taxes. So, what exactly is development? It is this fancy process of changes that are progressive, that are orderly, and they are predictable. Basically, it all kicks off when you're just a teeny weeny cell at conception, and it does not stop until, well, forever. You keep developing your whole life. So here is the cool part about development. Let's look into the nature of development, right? First off, it is a lifelong process. Yes, from learning to walk as a toddler to trying not to trip in your 50s, it never really ends. Then, development is not one dimensional, it is multi-dimensional. We have got physical changes like getting taller, cognitive changes like your brain becoming smarter, or so we hope, and emotional changes like how you feel about, say, pineapple on pizza. Next, development is totally modifiable. That means you are not stuck in one state forever. Your brain and body are pretty adaptable. So think of it like a Play Doh, you can mold it. And lastly, it is sequential, which means it builds on previous stages. But it is also variable. So no two people follow the exact same path. Some people may take longer to learn to ride a bike, while others are just born mini Einsteins. Right? Now that we know what development is all about, let's break down into some key stages. Think of these stages like levels in a video game. You cannot skip ahead, but each one has got its own challenges and rewards. First up, we have the prenatal stage. This is your hidden level before you're even born. So, all the serious growth happens here while you're chilling inside the womb. Next, we have infancy. Welcome to the world. This is where you're busy figuring out how to do basic things like smiling, walking, and crying. Lots of it. Now, childhood. Good old days, running around making friends and asking about a million why questions. The world here is the child's playground. Then comes adolescence, aka teenage years. This is where the hormones go wild and everything feels like a big deal. Spoiler, it is, but also it is not. Next up is adulthood. This is when the training wheels are off. You are out there making decisions, chasing dreams, and paying bills. Adulting. And finally, we reach the old age. You have gained a lot of wisdom and hopefully some cool stories to share. This is the time to sit back and reflect on the journey. So, that is the human journey in a nutshell, from a tiny bundle of cells to a wise elder. Each stage comes with its own adventure. So, we'll be looking into each stage. So, let's rewind life way back to the prenatal stage. Those first 40 weeks, where all the magic happens before you're even born. So, during this stage, you go from a single cell to a fully developed human, and that everything happens in just 40 weeks. That's like preparing for the most important event of your life, being born. But here is the deal, how things shape up in this stage depends on a few key factors. First off, we have got genetic factors. Basically, your DNA is the blueprint that decides things like your eye color, height, and maybe even your taste in music. Okay, maybe not the taste in music part, but you get it. Next up, we have got environmental factors, and these can get tricky. Things like teratogens, which are harmful substances like drugs or alcohol, or toxics and pollutants, can affect the development. Think of it as needing the perfect recipe for a cake. Too much of the wrong stuff, and it is spoiled. And of course, the mother plays a huge role here. Maternal characteristics like her nutrition, emotional well-being, and even her age all influences how smoothly the development goes on. Basically, a happy and healthy mother equals a good start for the baby. So that's the prenatal stage. A lot happens behind the scenes. From genetic codes to environmental risks, it is all part of the baby's first steps in life, even before they actually take a step. Now, welcome to the infancy stage, birth to 2 years. This is where the life takes off at full speed. The baby's brain is firing on all cylinders, creating neural connections faster than a Wi Fi signal. And do not forget that their little bodies are growing rapidly too. Seriously, blink and they are already a size up in diapers. Babies may be tiny, but what about their senses? Their senses are totally on point. They can already recognize their mother's voices, and their vision improves super fast. They can even see colors after a few months. And about cognitive development, we'll be looking into Piaget's stages of cognitive development soon. It is all about how babies start exploring and making sense of the world around them. Then, motor development. So, here the baby is seeking exploration. So, speaking of exploration, let's talk about reflexes. Reflexes are those automatic baby moves that help them survive. There's the rooting reflex, where they will turn their head towards anything that touches their cheek, thinking it is food. Then the Moro reflex. Have you ever seen a baby throw their arms out when they are startled? Yes, that is the Moro reflex. Then we have the grasping reflex. So their tiny hands holding on for dear life. If you have ever been held by a baby, you know how strong that grip is. That is grasping reflex. Then we have Babinski reflex. So it is when you stroke their foot and their toes fan out. That is Babinski reflex. And last but not the least, this stage is crucial for attachment. Babies start forming deep emotional bonds with their caregivers, which sets the stage for the relationships later in life. So, from brain boosts to bonding, the infancy stage is all about rapid growth and setting the foundation for everything that comes next. We'll also be looking into an experiment which was conducted by Harlow and Harlow in 1962, which talks about the development of attachment in babies. All right, let's dive into Piaget's stages of cognitive development, the four-step journey that your brain takes as you grow up. First up, we have the sensory motor stage, from birth to 2 years. At this point, it is all about exploring the world through senses and actions. Senses and actions. So, babies learn by touching, grabbing, and putting things in their mouths. Because why not? And here's a biggie, object permanence. Object permanence is realizing that things still exist even when you cannot see them. So, if you're hiding a toy under a blanket, babies do not understand that the toy is still there. Okay, so that is object permanence. Next, we have got the pre-operational stage, which is from 2 to 7 years. This is where kids start using symbols and language. So you will hear a lot of why questions. But here's the catch, they are still pretty egocentric, meaning that they think that world revolves around them. And sharing, not really their thing yet. If we are talking about conservation, which is knowing that the quantity does not change even if the shape does, it is still a mystery to them. So, a tall glass of juice seems like way more than a short one, a fat one, even if it is the same amount. Okay, so that is the principle of conservation. Then we have the concrete operational stage, which is from 7 to 11 years or 7 to 12 years. Finally, logic kicks in here. Kids can now solve problems and understand conservation. They know that if you squish Play Doh, it is still the same amount. But their thinking is still pretty concrete. They are not quite ready for abstract ideas yet. It's all about hands on learning and real life examples. At last, the formal operational stage, which is, we can say, from 11 to 15 years or from 12 years and up. Here's where the abstract and logical thinking really comes into play. Teens can now think about hypothetical situations, they can now test out theories in their mind, and they can also dream about the future. Basically, they can imagine what if scenarios. Like, what if I was a superhero? What if I was the prime minister? or figure out algebra. Same thing. And there you have it, Piaget's 4 stages from basic sensory exploration to abstract thoughts. Our brain goes on quite the adventure. So, this was just the first part of development. Do look out for the second part where we'll be talking about experiment done by Harlow and Harlow. We'll be talking about all the other stages of development and what goes on in them. Thanks for watching. Bye.